Hi, Dr. Bob here on Martin Luther King Day. And, I just remember back to the 60s. It was such an incredible time. So much wonderful things happening in terms of people opening up their minds, so many bad things happening in terms of Vietnam War and the whole need for the racial movement and how far things have really come in so many ways. We have a black president. Like him or not, at least the fact that he's black speaks a lot for the spirit of the people here. And I think it's something we should all be very happy about and proud of. Nevertheless, racism continues to rear its ugly head because there's a subset of the population that's always going to have that kind of mentality. And especially when it's hard for them to change their minds. So we see racism alive and well today in America, clearly in the so-called justice system, where the huge numbers, in particular of blacks that are arrested for drug-related offenses, is itself the criminal behavior. It's a fundamental violation of human rights, basically. And you can't really avoid that conclusion. I mean, it's pretty blatant. But then if you add to that this whole concept of blips and flips and the undeniable fact that there are going to be people who are more cannabinoid endowed and people who are less cannabinoid endowed, and it certainly seems to me that the people who like to use cannabis are the open-minded people, and cannabis feeds that nature of themselves in a way that they're comfortable with and allows them to move into the unknowns of the future with a lower level of stress. And then, of course, you got the cannabinoid defectives with respect to open-mindedness, and the people who are acting unhigh, the people who, in their very nature, their biochemical nature, are going to be more aggressive and more selfish because of their natural higher levels of fear and paranoia. And they're simply trying to defend themselves as we are. It's just that there's a different modus operandi for how you accomplish that. In the case of the blips, it's to try to create this fantasy of a more perfect past that would allow for a minimization of stress because everything was right then. Versus the people who are more evolutionary in their nature. They embrace the newness of a changing time. They embrace cooperation and elimination of artificial barriers of race and sex and ways of thinking. It's quite clear that it's the blips who are so adamant in their behavior that they're willing to send other people to jail, to take away their children, to deprive them of medicine, to foster the need for them to use addictive narcotics for pain management as opposed to cannabis. There's something very deeply flawed in the leadership of our country when that's the outcome of their policies. And it's up to every one of us who knows better to do everything that we can to make this year the year that's going to change everything. You know, the American spring has to start, and it's got to start now. And I think we're doing everything we can in cannabis science to utilize the knowledge of the health benefits of cannabis and of the philosophies really that I've been talking to you about that are just simply a natural outgrowth of science, and to apply those things for the benefit of all. Just think about the change. We're going to be documenting more and more cancer cures because I've seen them. Skin cancer in particular is just mind-blowing. But for other things as well, because we're seeing them, Colorado has turned into a big laboratory, and the people are the scientists, and they're experimenting on themselves and their family with cannabis, which happens to be such a safe modality for experimentation that the worst that can happen is you take too much and freak out and are fearful, and then you learn not to take too much in the future. But that it's been really amazing to see the benefits that people are gaining through using medical marijuana. And it's not that they're discovering new things. I mean, all of these things are known. The science supports all of these things. It's the governmental restrictions. It's that fascist mentality that keeps a simple plant from benefiting so many people. And instead, so many people are fostered and forced really to go down the route of the toxic pharmaceuticals, which in so many cases are not as good. Again, it's not to say that they don't work for some people some of the time. They do. But are they the best solution? And are they the best solution for all the people for whom they don't work? Again, why would we take some synthetic nasty with all sorts of side effects unless it was a last resort? Our government forces us to have that as the first resort, and that only under miraculous emergency circumstances might we ever consider the use of the cannabis plant. All the science supports what all the people are seeing and what all the people have seen for the past thousands of years when marijuana was used medicinally. Everything ties together to create a story, and the story is that of health and of the kinds of things that I've been describing to you in other videos. We have to take control of this situation. It's the essence of lunacy. An anti-aging drug that kills cancer and is found in mother's milk is illegal. Who would make it illegal? People who have something wrong with their minds, i.e. our government. Have a happy Martin Luther King Day. Sorry we lost a wonderful man. Take care. Bye-bye.